Today's video is an adjustable wrench restoration, and this is an 18-inch Wright adjustable wrench, and I do not have an adjustable wrench this size. And I picked this one up at an estate sale not that long ago, and I want to say at that estate sale I paid about $75 for everything, which was a ton of stuff. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. But yeah, this was part of it, and this item you could still get by Wright, and they range anywhere from $75 to $90+. So I think I got a pretty good deal on this one, but it is really rusted up, and I don't think it, obviously it's functioning well, so I don't think it's, structurally under there going to be any pitting or anything like that. We'll have to take a look at that. But the inspiration for this video comes from John Fix. He recently did a video on adjustable wrenches, and he has some really cool, unique ones. And what was so inspirational about it is the guy just got out of the hospital. And, he's already back in the shop regardless. They told him he was going to be laid up for a long period of time. So he's got a great channel. I'll put his link to his video in the description below if you don't know John. I'm sure most of you guys that watch my channel watch his. So, but if not, stop by and subscribe to his channel. He does great stuff. So let's jump into this restoration. Before we get into the restoration projects, let me just show you the sheer size of this thing. I mean, look at the thickness here. It's an inch. Basically an inch, slightly more. I mean, that's insane for an adjustable wrench. As you come down here, 3/4 of an inch, down to about, at the very finish, you're talking 5/8, 0.66 basically. Half inch all the way down. I mean, that's a massive wrench. And the largest adjustable wrench I have to this point was the 16-inch one. And this is a really nice quality wrench, but it has no owner's marks, or branding on it, I should say. It says W-27 over here. I guess I could look and see if I could find anything on that. But I don't know the make of this. It might have been made in Taiwan. It might have been made in the U.S. It is definitely really well made. Tony took very good care of this over the years, it looked like, and used it quite a bit. And I'm happy to own it now. And it's the one that I've had for several years now that I picked up. But you can see it even fails in comparison to this here. And this thing fully open is over 2 inches. I want to say it's about 2 3/16. And that's what makes adjustable wrenches in this size so valuable, is that, hey, most wrench sets only go up to, 1 inch, and then you get some that go up to 1 1/4, 1 1/2. I know my wrench set, the largest wrench I got is this 1 1/2 inch. And this one is, look at the size of it. So really, it makes a great tool, the adjustable wrench. You could get this. It's more convenient. You throw a cheater pipe on it. You could get a ton of leverage, and you don't need to have a lot of large size wrenches, which are not only expensive, but, when you get to this size, you're working on something that there's a lot of space. So an adjustable wrench would work just as well, in my opinion, as a combination wrench. How I'm going to restore this, I just don't know. And not restore, but basically clean up. I mean, it's stiff as can be, so that's obviously an easy fix. But this, I think, originally was polished. So, I'm going to try to do that. And then I think it had just like a nice black type of industrial finish all the way through. But this is going to be one of those projects, it looks like it might have been polished on the end here. One of those projects, though, that it's going to have to see how it evolves. If I put it in Evapo-Rust right now, and that, brings back the original finish, I could just maybe polish up the ends. If not, I'll see what it looks like after wire brushing, fiber wheeling, maybe paint. Who the heck knows? Let's see where it takes us. And I finally found a tub that was big enough to fit this wrench in, and there it is, soaking in there for 24 hours. I put some stuff around it to raise the level of Evapo-Rust so I didn't have to use so much. And the Evapo-Rust took the heavy rust off, as you can see here. Still has a lot of staining. It moved freely now, which was good. But I did start to notice there was definitely some pitting around the head. And here I'm just taking the screw out that holds the thread in, and it was in there pretty good. Had to get it in the vise and a proper screwdriver to get it out. And it wasn't until I got to the wire wheel that I really realized that that pitting was deeper than I would have liked. So here I am going at it with an angle grinder, and I started with a pretty worn 60 grit, and I spent hours on this going back and forth with different grits. And you'll see here in a minute I switch over to using a fiber wheel on my angle grinder. And this was just one of those days I wish I had 2 angle grinders, or even 3, where I could have had it set up with different grits and fiber wheel on one, just to save a lot of time. And there's that fiber wheel. And you can see that's a full fiber wheel. You should see when I'm done, it is toasted. I am down to the plastic on it. But it allowed me to get into all those little nooks and crannies and get a lot of that pitting out. And back to the flap disc here just to get that pitting, and you gotta go ever so carefully. You wanna keep those lines of the wrench. This is not a cheap knock-around wrench, and it was nerve-wracking at times. And here's where the project kinda took a turn on me. And I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to make this thing not painted in the middle and see what I could do to shine it up in the middle. And I turned the fiber wheel on his side there, as you can see, and I was able to get in those grooves pretty good. And then the always trusty belt sander to get the handle polished up and take all the nicks off around the sides and edges. And then I said back at it with a fresh fiber wheel, and look how I'm getting in between there. As you can see, it spits a lot when it hits the raised lettering, and that's what made it tough. But I just kind of bounced it around, massaged it, and I think that'll be a much better durable finish than painting. And then finally, I was just not thrilled with it, so I had to polish it up with some sanding. Did about a 360 grit, 600 grit, and then ultimately finished with an 800 grit. And then just when I thought I was finished, I forgot about the little piece, the other end of the jaw. So I had to take the pitting out, and I kind of went with the belt sander that way, and then over to the fiber wheel here. And this is that stiff fiber wheel, and I just kind of had to go back and forth, belt sander, fiber wheel. And then when it was all done, hit the whole wrench with the flits. Here I'm preparing the wrench for paint. Just wanted to clean the inset of the lettering there so the paint would stick well. So I just did that with mineral spirits, and then I sprayed a little paint into the cap, and I went with that Chevy orange. And as you can see there, you dab it in and you just kind of lightly wipe it with a dry towel with a little dab of mineral spirits on it. And I actually did that twice on each side. I would let it set, then do it again. And then finally, all the moving pieces got the royal purple maxi film. Eventually, the whole wrench will get a coat of this. By working the maxi film in all these tough little spots that you'll never get into again, you'll never have to worry about rust, and it'll always move freely. And then you always need the right tool for the job. And here the screwdriver just, it had to get kind of into that inset, and I just could not get great leverage, did not want to risk scratching the wrench if it slipped off, and that's where the Chapman tool comes in handy. And this is a nice vintage one that I have. And as you can see here, I'm just able to get great leverage on it. I don't use this tool often, but it really comes in handy when you need it. And I know Scoutcrafter recently just bought one of these, and they now come in a blow molded case, but this is a vintage one that I picked up a while back, and just glad I had it. All right, there it is. It is complete. What do you guys think? Overall, I'm very happy with it. It moves like a dream. I did put a little maxi film on it, so you might see some fingerprint smudging. It's probably not 100% dry yet. I'm really happy with the insert here. I had to bounce that fiber wheel around to kind of clean out all the rough castings in there, and there's still some rough castings around where the Made in the USA was. I just couldn't get that out without doing irreparable damage to the raised lettering, as you can see there. But I'm much happier with this finish. It feels great. It just feels great in the hand. Look at the lines of this wrench, huh? Did they come out nice or what? Look at the end. Beautiful finish on that. I mean, you would never recognize this as being the same wrench. It is definitely one of a kind, and it is a unique wrench. I got to keep getting those fingerprints off until that maxi film dries. But overall, very happy with it. Love adjustable wrenches. Let me show you that fiber wheel. So this is a full fiber wheel here, and this is the one that I used. As you can see, I was down to the plastic, and the reason for that is this is what I used. You could use all of this, and this is a really cool tool if you haven't used, or on your tool I should say, a really neat way to work. You don't have to worry. It'll take metal off as short. As you can see, it took all that rough casting off, but it will also even take your raised letters down, just not as quick as, you know, using a flap disc. And a flap disc you really can't use on your sides either. So that's kind of what happened. Was I was polishing in here, and I said, you know, trying to get this edge nice and clean, and then I was going to plan on just laying paint in here, and I said, you know what, I really like the way this is coming. It feels great in the hand. It'll clean up easier. You won't have to worry about paint coming off, and that's why I went with that finish. And this steel, you know, it's tough to get the pitting out. You got to be careful you don't overheat it, because it heats up. Reminded me a lot of when I did my Boy Scout 1940s axe restoration, and I had to get that steel really polished up. So there it is. It is a beautiful wrench, and I love my adjustable wrenches. Take a look at the ones I got here. And here's a look inside my adjustable wrench drawer. And most of these are Crescent brand, which were made in Jamestown, New York. A lot of the standard size here, with the most common size, the 10 and the 8-inch. This is my longest owned wrench. It was actually made in Jamestown, New York by J.P. Danielson, which was a partner of the folks that made Crescent wrenches. They kind of had their own two businesses for a while. It came with this coating on it, I think, or somebody plaster dipped it, but I had this thing. This was my dad's, and it was in the basement, and I had used this for a long, long time. So that one, you know, I still use and I go for, but I have a lot here, but it's not all of them. And the reason it's not all of them is because anytime I could pick an adjustable wrench up, and it fits, I throw it in a socket set, and God knows I have tons of socket sets. It is just a perfect universal tool to have in a socket set. Sometimes you grab it, you don't realize you need something to hold the back end of a bolt. Just a very versatile tool. Can never have enough of them. All right, there it is, guys. Wright makes some quality stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe. And I've been really super busy, but I do got a bunch more projects coming up, and I got some tool hauls coming up and selling some stuff on eBay. So I've been buying some new stuff. So stay tuned, and I'll see you at the next one.